Okay, so the next class is Rogue, and we have the Dark Iron Skulker there. Which I talked about earlier when like the first 4 or 5 cards were revealed. Dark Iron Skulker was one of them. And I was quite excited about it, at least for Arena. In Arena, I think it's... I first read the card as deal 2 damage to all undamaged minions, and was like, okay, well, you can manage to have a board state that somehow interacts with that. And then I read it again and was like, undamaged enemy minions? Wow, that's like a backstep for all enemy minions. And that's kind of huge, especially in Arena, I think. The 4/3 stats aren't that bad, although it's quite expensive for 5 mana. But as you compare, if you compare it to Stompy Commando, which is a 4/2 and damages 1 minion for 2.
Well, the Stompy Commando is bad. So
well, it's okay in Arena.
Yeah, I'm always sad when I have to pick it, but yeah.
It's a good tempo card at least. So I think this
always dies so easy.
Yeah, that's true. But the Dark Iron Skulker is a little bit more resilient.
Yes.
As for constructed, I think it fits the rogue theme that we see right now, which is very control-ish and always like waits for the right time to play the right card and such. So the Dark Iron Skulker is fits into this somehow.
Do you know what it's really good against?
Huh?
It's really good against Token Druid. Shade of Naxxramas.
Yeah, for example. Or just, I don't know, Zoo.
Yeah, but I really like being able to kill their Shade, you know, while it's in stealth.
Actually, it might be a tech card against... No. Not really, right? You play, I don't know, Thalnos and play Fan of Knives or something against Shades. Not sure. But I'm not sure if rogues will be able to fit this into, like to find space into in their decks, because the stats themselves are kind of weak and it dies quite easily.
It does not fit into the Oil Rogue. It would have to be some kind of new rogue deck, yeah.
Yeah, maybe some tempo-based rogue again.
Yeah, I would love to see a tempo-based rogue work again.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we have seen the right cards for that, though. Because the neutral minions don't really... Let's have a look. I don't think that they really fit the theme of it.
Yeah, maybe next expansion. And you know what? The next expansion...
Maybe the Dragon Egg, then you play like Cold Blood on it and get a 2/1 out of... I don't know.
I think it's a decent card. And I like to think of it this way. The stats are like a free drop, so you pay 2 mana for the effect, basically. And you want to deal 2 damage to all undamaged enemy minions for 2 mana. Whew, yeah, sure.
It's like a cool whirlwind for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably won't seem... I think it will see some experimentation at first, then it won't see much play, and maybe find a niche. Hopefully find a niche.
Yeah, you can
construct it.
Also kind of compare it with the Bomb Lupper. It's but you're both 5 mana. This one just do like some AoE, and the Bomb Lupper is only on 1 target.
Yeah, I mean, if you play this and then a Fan of Knives, then you suddenly have like, well, prep Fan of Knife. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it fits better in Rogue than in every other class because they have prep and something to actually like play this on 5 with something else or something.
I think it would work pretty well in Warrior too. Because you can also activate executes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I think it fits the theme. I think it's an interesting card. I like to have it in the pool, but
it's definitely not a
I'm not like I'm excited for a little bit for Arena, but it's a rare, so you don't see it that often. Such. But as for constructed, I'm interested to see if someone actually makes a viable deck and that it fits into.
It's a cool card.
Yeah. Other than I feel like the Gang Up.
Oh my god, Gang Up! It's such a weird card.
Okay, so we have seen some shuffle cards already, which are, I think, Malorn. Recycle, so both in Druid. And the third one was like the warrior card that shuffles a mine into your deck. Or to your opponent's deck, rather.
And both of those cards are almost never seen.
Yeah, all of those cards are never seen. As for Malorn, I don't know, you get the benefit of having a 9/7 into your deck after it's killed. which isn't too exciting. The Gang Up itself, you can choose what minion you want to have in your deck, and you can target opponents' things too. So that's, if I want to find the positive ways for that, I can shuffle, I don't know, 3 Tyrians into my deck. Haha. But I'll have to draw them also. It doesn't draw me into fatigue though, which is kind of okay. I feel like this, but seriously, I think if you want to spend 2 mana and a card for drawing into something sometime, it probably just fits into Mill Rogue.
Yeah. Oh, right. I guess you could do it on a Cold Light Oracle.
Yeah, and you have more cards in your deck. Like you can, yeah.
Yeah, and you can like go even more crazy with the milling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems extremely niche.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit confused to see such a card, to be honest. Especially, maybe that's a problem with not having neutral spells.
I think maybe it was 1 mana. Maybe.
Even then, I don't know. It's like the game is so tempo based, and you don't want to end up like you don't even. If you play this card, you reduce your chances of getting cards that you actually put into your deck to draw them sometime.
Well, I mean, I assume you will use it on a minion that you would be happy to draw.
Yeah. Okay, you can play your, I don't know, your SI7 5 times in one game, but you'll need to have.
But you also need to draw into them, yeah, and that's the issue, right? I agree with you. I don't think it's a good card.
No, maybe in a very control-ish rogue build that usually goes into fatigue against other control decks.
I have never seen a deck like that.
No. I tried to make it work in my head, but I only see Mill Rogue, really. Also in Arena, some battles go into fatigue, but you don't want to spend 2 mana and a card to win in fatigue.
Win in a fatigue war? No. How many times have I lost because of a fatigue war with Rogue in Arena?
yeah. Given that Rogue is pretty tempo-based, especially in Arena.
Yeah. I don't really get it. I don't think it's a good card, and I'm not excited to see it, and I wish it was something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the 2 Druid cards.
Yeah, at least the Dark Iron Skulker is interesting.
Yeah. What's the next one? Shaman, right?
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
The Lava Shock.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, I overread the deal 2 damage part. It was like, okay, you can unlock Overload Crystals.
You thought that was all it did? Yeah, okay.
Well, I was on stream and someone posted a link into the chat and was like, here, 2 new cards revealed, and I just blinked over and saw, okay. Well, I'm not excited about this one. But, well, dealing 2 but let's go to the point. Like, dealing 2 damage for 2 mana isn't too exciting. Like, you have Arcane Shot or something, or all the other direct spells in Shaman. So you don't want to play this as just a single deal 2 damage spell.
You want both, like, to get use out of both things.
Yeah.
Like, if you only use it for one of the things, then it's not exciting. But if you can say you're on turn 5, right? And you play Lightning Storm, but then there's one minion that didn't die, right? Then you finish it off with Lava Shock, so you get rid of your overloaded mana crystals, and now you can play
Fire Elemental next turn.
Exactly, and I think it's stuff like that it excels at.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more situational overall, and I feel like playing the classic Shaman, you sometimes end up with 2 situational hands overall, but I can see it work, but you might also often end up Lava Shocking face just to get the Innervate effect from this thing somehow. I don't know.
I like it.
Well, I like the idea, but it's like you want to deal exactly 2 damage, or at least 1 or 2 damage, or maybe 3 damage with spell damage.
Also spell power.
Yeah, so. Okay, and then you want to unlock overloaded crystals.
Okay, you know what? It's like an Innervate and deal 2 damage. I don't know. The thing is, I mean, if you have this card in your deck, you're probably more likely to include more overload cards.
Yeah.
Which also means that you're pretty likely to include what's that? The 2/4 that gets buffed with Overload cards.
Yeah, Unbound Elemental.
Unbound Elemental, right? So I think it might not be in every Shaman deck, but I think it has its place. And I think that Fire Elemental thing is actually pretty huge, because often you sit there on turn 5 and you're like, I really want to make this play, but I can't get overloaded next turn because I need to play the Fire Elemental on turn 6. Like, it's like, oh, I can't equip this axe or can't play Lightning Bolt or whatever you want to do because...
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe you would only run one of them as like kind of like a situational card, but I definitely think it has its place. And
yeah, of course. And
it's interesting, and it's not like Gang Up.
Yeah, no, that's right. And another card that you probably want to include into a deck that you put Lava Shock into is the new Fireguard Destroyer, which also is a nice card and overloads. So I think the Lava Shock fits into a deck where you have a lot of overload cards, of course. So you can abuse this effect and make use out of the tempo that overload cards usually give you.
Yeah.
And then you will also play the Fireguard Destroyer,
which is a 4-drop, which, you know, so you could play the Unbound Elemental on turn 3 and then follow up with a Fireguard, for example.
The 4-drop for Shaman is actually pretty nice because they usually lack good 4-drops. If you look at usual Shaman lists, they just play Gnomish Inventors and a Defender of Argus, which aren't good 4-drops by themselves.
You're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, but the Fireguard Destroyer is 4/6 at least, which is bigger than a Yeti, and a 7/6 at best, right? Which is kind of VGHable, but it's a 4-drop.
Yeah, but yeah, so you're not even... Well, the problem is, of course, that most Shamans don't really run very many big game hunter targets, so...
Well, the Shaman decks you see right now are running Neptulon and Dr. Boom, for example, so...
That's true, they do run Neptulon a lot. Oh. Yeah, you're right, never mind. I was just thinking Dr. Boom, but you're right. I totally see Neptulon all the time, actually. But a nice thing about the card is that it's on turn 4, as you said, also, because then, sure, you're overloaded on turn 5, but you still got your turn 6 clear.
Oh, yeah, of course, the Fire Elemental turn.
Yeah, it's funny, right? I mean, Shaman is just all about that Fire Elemental.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We started off with that, right? Like the little Fire Elemental, the neutral one, and...
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, even I played Mag Shaman a lot last season.
Yeah.
And like every turn 6 when I had Fire Elemental, I tried to not overload a turn 5. Just because it's such a huge tempo swing to put a 6/5 body on the board and kill something.
Yeah. And you know what? Both of these cards work very well with the Fire Elemental, right?
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah. Pretty nice.
I think both fit the Shaman theme very well, and especially the Fireguard Destroyer. I mean, it adds more randomness to the game, and I hate Crackle for that. It always screws me over, kind of like Implosion. But the Fireguard Destroyer is like, even in the worst case, it's a 4/6. I mean, you might lose 1 or 2 games once in a while just because it rolls low, but it's not like it's not like Lightning Storm or Crackle, where you crackle I don't know, a spider tank and it just won't die.
2 damage,
or where you roll low on 2 minions with a Lightning Storm. So this one, in its worst case, is a 4/6 for 4 mana plus the Overload, which is actually pretty decent. And you might end up, like, average case something 5 or 6, which is super huge.
Most of the time it's gonna have 5 or more, like 75% of the time, which is great because then it kills low fab sludge build.
Yeah, it's a hungry dragon then without the, like, you pay 1 mana in the future turn.
I would rather overload than give the enemy a card on the board.
A 1-drop, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Better than the hungry dragon in my opinion.
And you might play it with Lava Shock at some time, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can see I can definitely see a comeback of the Unbound Elemental.
Yes.
With both Lava Shock
and... these 2 cards, yes. Yeah.
You might actually want... Maybe you want to... Like, it also gets rid of the Lava Shock. Also gets rid of Overload for the current turn.
Yes.
So you could play, I don't know, an Earth Elemental at turn 5. then you play this to deal 2 damage and still have 1 more mana. Somehow. Like, you overload for 3, then you clear up your 3 mana and deal 2 damage with the Lava Shock.
Well, I don't think you would be able to. But if you play it on turn 5, you can't play anything else in turn 5.
Yeah, that's true. But
So, but on turn 6 you could play it and still have 4 mana left.
yeah, exactly.
Whereas usually you would have like nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, so Fire Element? No, it overloads for 3, right?
Yeah. So you would have 3 mana, then you Lava Shock for 2
Then you have
mana and
4
still
mana.
have 4 mana.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be played on the same turn.
Nope.
But well, I can see this work somehow in an overload deck, of course. I'm not sure how viable it will be overall, but
We'll see.
yeah.
I mean, Lightning Storm is great.
I mean, we talked about how good Blackwing Technician is as a 3/5 for 3, and the Unbound Elemental just needs 1 overload card to be exactly that. So
yeah.
and it even grows more. So
Yeah. Sometimes you get out of hand.
yeah, so we might actually see it a lot more when we have all the cards available.
Yep.
So that's it for Shaman. We have the next one for the Warlock, which is Demonwrath.
Yeah, you want more demon action. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's pretty amazing in an all-out demon deck, but without a demon deck, then it kind of sucks.
Yeah, and actually, you're not like the most demon decks you see don't actually run all-out demons.
You're right.
Because you want to get value from the Void Caller, which means that you don't want to have like Flame Imps and Void Walkers and all of them in your deck, because you want like cards like, I don't know, Doomguard or maybe a Dreadinfernal or something to get catched from the Void Caller.
Mm-hmm.
So you play a lot of minions that also would get damaged by Demonwrath. Also, it's 3 men. Like, it's a if you think about your board only consisting of minions, or you don't even have any, then it's kind of a consecration for 3, which is okay.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good, actually, but other than that, the 3 mana is pretty expensive also. For 2 damage.
If you don't take advantage of the demon thing, then it's just a whirlwind that does double the damage for triple the mana.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think it might find a spot, like maybe like in a demon deck of some kind. I mean, I know you don't run all demons, but it would give some situations where you have like a couple of demons on the board, and then you can play this as well. So it does give some extra advantage, and then, as you said, it kinda is a consecration at that point. So for 3 mana, so it's interesting. It's definitely not gonna be in all Warlock decks, but it's probably gonna be in some. At least some people will want to try it out.
Yeah. I'm not sold on it, just because like you would need an all-out demon deck, and we don't get too many demons with this expansion. In fact, we only get like neutral minions, dragons, and the Imp Gang Boss is a new demon.
I mean, what I'm saying is that you would not necessarily need an all-out. Because, I mean, even if half of your minions are demons, I mean, you decide when to cast the spell. So you can judge if now is a good time. And some of the time you would get use of the fact that it's, you don't damage your own demons. But other times, like say you have an empty board, then it's also kind of useful. Like, I feel like it just has different uses, and it's just going to require a little bit of thinking of like when to play it. But I mean, I don't think it's like, oh my god, it's like the best card ever or anything. But I think it might find a spot in some decks.
Yeah, the problem also is just like the 2 damage probably doesn't kill too much. So you would need to, like, a Consecration is a good card, of course, but it's kind of given to the fact that Paladins have or tend to have like tokens that they can do the math right with, and that they have equality, like to clear everything and such. So the 2 damage, if you consider it to be in handlock, like they are very happy to have the Hellfire for 4 just to be able to clear everything off. that has been played until then.
Maybe you'll play it with acolytes in your deck.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sold on it. And in Arena, I think it's pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, I don't think I like it in Arena. You know what? It's just we'll see. I think
we might.
You will find a home, Demonwrath. Someone will.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is
but
the deck.
Not Dorgan. He will not like you. Hate you.
Okay. The Imp Gang Boss is a new demon, so it doesn't get hit by Demonwrath.
Yeah, it's funny because this one summons demons when it's.
It would be good if it wouldn't get hit by would get hit by Demonwrath, I suppose. But so that's kind of a cheap Grim Patron that just doesn't get so much out of hand.
Yeah, but also it's interesting because this one also summons an imp when it dies.
Yeah.
Unlike the Grim Patron. So it's like you're always gonna get a 1/1 out of it.
Most of the time, unless it's silenced, but nobody would silence it.
To get rid of a 1/1.
Yeah.
Especially against a Warlock, because you often run a lot of stuff you want to silence, especially in a demon deck, because you want to save your silences for the Void Callers, that's for sure.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, if you think about it, it's most of the time it's going to be a 2/4 plus a 1/1 for 3 mana.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit like Imp Master, actually.
Yeah, except it's a 2. Like, I think it's better than Imp Master.
Yeah, of course.
It's
the two attack can actually kill something, and it's very nice against aggro. I think, like if you play it at turn 3 against, I don't know, a hunter, you will usually get a 2/1 alone with the body, and then you have 2 1/1 imps that you can run into something also.
Yeah.
So maybe we see both together actually, because you might have like Demonwrath and Imp Gang Boss.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a few tokens on the board, also with Implosion, and then you can do the math right. Huh, actually. This might make Demonwrath a little bit better.
It does. Any demon would. Yeah, and I think Imp Gang Boss is actually a good 3-drop demon, which I don't think Warlocks really had before.
Right.
He had that guy that the guy that ate its neighbors.
Void Terror.
For free, right? But you would rarely want to play that on turn 3 unless you already had X on the board or something like this. This one is a nice one that you can just play on turn 3 on an empty board. So you could maybe get more like a curve-based tempo demon Warlock. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. We'll see. Because you can play this on turn 3, then you can play the Void Call on turn 4. That's a pretty strong curve.
Yeah, or an Implosion in turn 4, and if they don't end up clearing your board, you can do a Demonwrath, and then you have a lot of 1/1s potentially to like kill everything that stays alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this could work. I'm not sure if these are enough cards to enable such a new archetype, but
well, they have gotten some new demon cards in like every expansion. One time it'll come, and I mean we are seeing some demon decks nowadays. Actually,
now that you say that, I'm feeling kind of silly that we only talk about the current situation, but for future expansion, both Warlock cards, for example, will be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there'll be more
just to enable more demon synergy stuff, and we will see more demons in the future. But that's for sure.
I think Imp Gang Boss is really cool because it's a card. It doesn't even rely on anything else. It's good by itself. Like it would be a great arena card, for example.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's a nice 3-drop, I guess. Just because you can smooth out the math with all the 1/1 imps that you might get. Even if you just get one, then you have a 3/4 basically, which is also pretty nice for
a 2/4 plus a 1/1 for 3 mana. Yeah, pretty good. And a lot of the time you're gonna get 2 1/1s out of it.
Also, attack actions. Like you don't. It's not like a Razorfan Hunter where you summon this and the 1/1 imp. But you have this, then they have to clear the Imp Gang Boss, and then you have the 1/1. Like they can't swipe it and clear both, but because you will get it afterwards.
AoE insurance, as you said.
Yeah. So and the opponent has to waste more actions to actually clear the whole board. So I guess in Arena it will be a pretty good card actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So pretty demon based theme. As
Yeah.
Shaman was a little bit overload themed. So the last class we have cards of is the warrior, and we start with Revenge.
Yeah. Whirlwind for 2 mana.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I don't think this card will see much play. Of course, it also does 3 damage if you have 12 or less health, but that's not really something you want to rely on, because that means that you're close to dead.
Yeah. Like, well, at least you can armor up and such, but I don't see. And then you have to have a situation where you don't want to kill your own board for 3 damage anyways.
That's a lot of damage, right? That's not very good with Acolytes or Armor Smiths. It just kind of destroys everything.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe in like Control Warrior, it kind of works as like...
But as a control warrior, you don't want to get a 12 or less health, actually.
Well, they often do. Before they can turn the game around, right?
Yeah.
And it could kind of work as an alternative to Brawl. Maybe not. I'm not so sure about it.
The first thing I thought about when I saw this card was like, yeah, maybe the whole self-inflicting damage thing to the extreme, and you run 2 whirlwinds and 2 of these, and you just play this as a overcosted whirlwind. But then again, the jump from 1 mana to 2 mana
it's pretty big.
It's pretty big. Like the only jump which is bigger is from 0 to 1. So I don't think that we will see this in any aspect of the game quite often.
Right, kind of like the Bouncing Blade. People were pretty excited about the Bouncing Blade when they first saw it, but
you can Grim Patron and Bouncing Blade.
All right.
and I don't know, Warzone Commander, and then you
Stuff
just
happens.
Well, I'm like we said earlier. I'm pretty sure we will see some Trolden with videos with Grim Patron, but
yeah,
I don't see Revenge. Not even as a fun card. I don't know. For me, it's just a bad card, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not that fun, really. It's like, oh, I do 3 damage to everything. Fun. Not really.
Yeah, well, it's the only situation where it's good is if you're behind, low on life, and then you have this card and can maybe clear most of the opponent's board.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like Control Warrior. It's like you play this, and then if it clears the board, then you can like play the Sludge Belcher or something.
Actually, maybe we'll see that as like a replacement for Whirlwind, just if you fall too much behind. But actually, I for one think that we won't see it.
Yeah.
Quite often, anyways.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sure. Like maybe it'll find some kind of place. I don't think it will.
Yeah. Probably not as a 2-off, anyways.
Oh yeah, it would probably be a 1-off. Yeah.
But of course, the self-inflicting theme fits very well to Warrior. Revenge also does this. So we have the Flinger as the last card, I believe. Yeah, that's the last card.
Yeah. What is this? What?
It's a 2/5 4-drop, which is pretty weak stat-wise, and then you can deal damage to opponent's face.
What? What do I even say about this card other than it's really, really bad?
The only thing I see is that all the self-inflicting damage stuff enables like the wet dreams of self-inflict enraged warriors. Like you only run cards that either benefit from being damaged or that damage. So I don't know. Like 2 Whirlwinds, 2 Revenge, 2 Flingers, 2 Grim Patrons, 2 Frothing Berserkers, 2 Acolyte of Pain, 2 maybe Armor Smith.
Berserker is so much better than this card.
It is.
I like even if this was 3 mana.
Five health for 3 mana is pretty
Yeah,
resilient.
but think about Frothing Berserkers. I mean, he can get buffed so much in Warrior. I love Berserker. I mean, quite often, like more often than you would think, I get like my Frothing Berserkers up to 10 attack. It's like, I don't know, the Axe Flinger. No.
And it's not even doing something to the board, right? It's just enemy heroes damage, so you need to have it in a rush deck anyways.
I mean, on average, you would get use of the effect one time, right? So that means you do 2 damage to the enemy hero. And you have 2 less attack than...
Then you probably want to run
Yeti.
Nightblade, right?
Yeah. I would much rather play a Nightblade than this, actually.
And to be honest, what makes me really sad about both warrior cards is that they only fit into kind of the same niche. Like, none of them are fitting into any other deck than self-inflict damage, rushy tempo deck thing.
Yeah, and then both of them seem kind of bad.
Yeah, also.
I like to consider the Grim Patron, the one that summons other Grim Patrons, right? I'd like to consider that a warrior card, because at least that one has potential.
Yeah, that's right.
But these two...
And if we think about the Druid cards we started with the class cards, which we were also very unexcited about, then at least they are like cards that can be played in other deck archetypes or something. These 2 cards are probably not going to see play in any deck other than the gimmick enrage self-inflicting damage stuff.
But Axe Flinger just... I can't even see it being good in any deck.
No.
At least Revenge, it's like, okay, maybe do like a mini Flame Strike or something, but Axe Flinger is just... I don't see it.
Yeah. The 2 damage to the hero won't matter at turn 4. Like, even if you get...
But then you get a... I would much rather have a Yeti with 4 attack. Then I could do 4 damage to them instead of 2 with the minion itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like, Nightblade is the 5 mana 4/4, which deals 3 damage to your opponent's hero, so that's probably...
But it's a 4/4.
Yeah.
This one only has 2 attack. If you're trying to rush down the enemy, then you probably want a minion with more than 2 attack.
Yeah, that's so true. I don't know what they thought about. Like, if it was a 3/5, it could fit, but the 2/5.
Yeah, 3/5 would be much better. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's such a huge break point again. But this thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Counter rush against aggro. I don't know. Like trading away 2 minions and dealing 4 damage to your opponent's face, and they can rush.
But you don't want to deal damage to the enemy's face when you're trying to counter a rush.
No, you counter rush them.
A counter rush. Oh man.
Like, have you ever played Hunter and getting bashed, like rushed down by a control warrior just because they had so many weapons? And
No, but
this fits.
I have played Tempo Warrior and done it.
You guys see, we try to make this thing work and we fail badly. And also in Arena, it's not giving good stats on the board, and the 2 damage to your opponent's hero won't matter that much.
I think I might pick it over Wisp and stuff like that, but it would be a very low priority.
It's not a terrible card, but it's a bad card, for sure.
I think it's terrible.
Okay.
I think it's just better than Wisp and Captain's Parrot, but they're very.
What about Target Dummy? Target Dummy?
Oh yeah, it's better than Target Dummy.
Summoning Portal? Not that you would have the choice in Warrior, but
I do think it's better than Summoning Portal.
Yeah, so we can find a few cards that are worse than X-Flinger. That's for the card value.
Yeah, it might not be the top 10 worst cards of all time, but probably top 20.
Yeah.
A bottom 20, I should say.
Well, no. If we think about all the vanilla cards that usually don't say play, I don't know. Might be.
Well, okay, so a vanilla card we don't see often is like the 7/7 Golem, right?
Yeah.
But I would much rather have that than an X-Flinger.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we are just disappointed about the warrior cards.
Yes.